This is the Whimsy Farm Podcast. I'm Carolyn Crane.
There's a big wide world right out your door. Good people doing good things. Whoa, it's a big wide world. Now is the time. Now is our time.
Welcome, everyone, to episode 31. Today, I speak with Anna Marie Stenberg from the organization Taxpayer Alliance Against Genocide, or TAAG. TAAG, along with the organization Democracy for the Arab World Now, or DAWN, is launching a nationwide grassroots campaign to demand that Trump, Rubio, and other senior U.S. officials be investigated and prosecuted by the International Criminal Court for their participation in genocide and other crimes against the Palestinian people. Welcome to the Whimsy Farm Podcast, Anna Marie.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Can you start by telling us a little about the history of the Taxpayer Alliance Against Genocide?
Well, the Taxpayer Alliance Against Genocide was birthed out of Taxpayers Against Genocide. That's been around since October 2024. And Taxpayers Against Genocide was formed to file a class action lawsuit against our congressional representatives in Northern California. We filed TAAG filed a lawsuit, a class action lawsuit, initially against just the congressional representative for Sonoma County in that area, and then right up above Mendocino County. And right away, when people heard about it, they wanted to join. And so we ended up filing an amended class action lawsuit that covered the whole judicial district. So it started a little bit below Monterey County. And if you're not familiar with California, it's a few counties south of San Francisco and all the way up to the Oregon border. We sued 18 congressional representatives. And we sued them for complicity in genocide, making us as taxpayers complicit in genocide. And we, of course, the judge ruled that it was a political question, and so it never got to trial. They used the same lawsuit that they did, the same precedent that they did for the Biden lawsuit that they filed. They used the Corey versus Caterpillar that says that courts can't make political decisions, as if genocide is a political decision, right? So that got thrown out. But we started with about 300 people, and we ended up, by the time we filed the amended complaint 2 months later in December of 2024, we had close to 3,000 members, and covering that people in all those counties. People really jumped on board because they understand that it's our tax dollars, and we need, it's our tax dollars that's doing this genocide. So when that when that was dismissed, we went on to file a report with the United Nations Human Rights Council. It's a periodic report that happens every 4 years, and it was America's time to have a report on their human rights. So we paired with National Lawyers Guild attorneys, specifically Huwaida Arafat. Probably most people know her. She's one of the originators she's a Palestinian woman. She's one of the founders of the flotilla and has been on it any number of times. And she's an incredible activist, organizer, and fantastic attorney. And we paired with her and a couple others, and we put together almost 100 pages and a lot of exactly the human rights that our tax dollars are violating. the human rights of Palestinians and our human rights, because we suffer from having to pay for genocide. But mainly it was the Palestinians. We submitted a bunch of documentation, and we submitted declarations from Palestinian Americans who have lost family members in Palestine, and how they felt about their tax dollars being used to kill their family. And next, we did the Inter-American Council on Human Rights, which is the OAS states, all the Southern Hemisphere, Southern Hemisphere states. And it's similar to the ICC, but not quite, because it has a commission and then it has a court. So we filed with the commission and asked them to submit it to the court. And we filed an extensive document. Both of those are online on Taxpayers Against Genocide .org website. But that was a very extensive and we petition, and we asked for what they call it precautionary measures, but really it's a restraining order to stop our tax dollars from being spent to arm Israel. We asked for precautionary measures because it's happening and increasing. The genocide and everything is increasing there. It's not decreasing. And they wouldn't rule on the precautionary measures, but they said the other submission is under submission. It's under submission. It's under review. That's been over a year ago. And we were all, a whole group of us went to Washington, D.C. when we filed it, and we had a rally and a press conference, and we hand-delivered, Hueda came, hand-delivered it to the commission. So we're getting ready. They're coming back in August, and we're getting ready to go and talk to them about, hey, come on, the genocide is continuing. You're sitting on your hands. So that's happening. And what we started to do, there were a group of us, a small group of us in TAAG that we started concentrating on going to the ICC. So we started collecting evidence. And what we saw is we better spin off from TAAG, because many people, there's close to 5,000 people now in TAAG, and they maybe not necessarily want to submit to the ICC. So because of some of the stuff that goes on with it. So we spun off in the spring, and I think there's 10 of us now in TAAG, Taxpayer Alliance Against Genocide .net. It's got its own website, so you can look us up there. It explains it really well. And we hooked up with an attorney that's really experienced in ICC stuff. And we've been gathering evidence. And what we know is that it's a dangerous thing to do. Because in February of this year, Trump passed an executive, is it February this year? No, it's February of last year, yeah. He did an executive order that sanctions. He used the EPA law. Do you know what EPA is? It's
No.
let me look it up. I want to say it specifically so I don't mess it up. Hold on. Okay. International Emergency Economic Powers. That's what it is. He used that law to justify doing an executive order that puts sanctions on foreign individuals that cooperate in any way with the ICC. That includes not just for the U.S., but for its allies. So in other words, Israel and the U.S. If you cooperate in any way with the ICC and you're a foreign individual, they can sanction you. And right away, they sanctioned 3 really prominent and effective Palestinian groups operating in Gaza. They sanctioned altogether. It took them a couple months, but they sanctioned 10 ICC judges, including the head guy, that there's so much going on with him, Khan, the head prosecutor, and they sanctioned Francesca Albanese. And if you understand what sanctions mean, it's really intense. You're locked out of the monetary system, period. You can't access your health insurance. You can't pay your property tax. You don't have, and they lock up your bank accounts and they lock up your ability to travel. It's very intense. It's very intense. And I think very, very illegal, but that's so much of what's going on is illegal. But
Can you talk a little bit about what the ICC is, International Criminal Court? Can you give us a
sure,
quick
yeah.
download on what that is?
Yeah, what happened is it was formed right after the Nuremberg. It's been going, based on what happened during the Nuremberg trials. And ICC, it's based on the Rome Statute. And the Rome Statute, I can tell you what it's crimes of genocide, crimes against humanity, war crimes, and crimes of aggression. When national courts are not willing to take it on. That's what that is. And obviously, TAAG has plenty of experience with our courts, and they won't take it on. And what it applies to, it's I think there's 137 countries that have signed on to the Rome Statute, and of course it's been several decades. And of course the U.S. didn't. It played around with it a lot. Well, if you just fix this, we'll sign on, or if you just fix that, we'll sign on. And they never signed on, and neither did Israel, but 137 countries did. But the Rome Statute also says if a country has signed on to it and the crimes are committed in that country, the ICC has jurisdiction. So Israel and the U.S. didn't sign on to the Rome Statute, but Palestine did. And I think 2015. So all the crimes that we're talking about that happen in Palestine, the ICC has jurisdiction over it. Does that answer your question?
Yes, that's very helpful. And so right now, TAAG is launching a campaign. I know you're having a big meeting on August 1st. Can you tell us what that campaign is and why you're launching it?
Well, what we want to be able to do is we want to be able to get first, for my personal reason is hopefulness. All of us feel so downtrodden about everything that's going on and hopeless, a lot of us. And I feel that way too, even though I've been really, I don't always feel that way, but I can sink into that. And we want people to know that we're not giving up, no matter what they throw at us. We're going to keep going. We're going to keep going. We're going to keep going. And they can join us. They can join us. And they can have actions in their own community. They can have teach-ins. They can have rallies in support of the ICC. And I mean, look at what just happened. Well, I'm jumping ahead. I'm going to jump ahead, but so we're looking to the larger community, progressive community. Many of them, many organizations have endorsed us, and we're looking to them to do things in their own communities. And we're getting a petition ready that once we get the ICC submission filed, people can sign on, and maybe there'll even be some amicus briefs to what we're doing. We'll see what happens, but we want to put as much. We're going up against the power, and the only way we can go up against that power is people power, and as much power as we can put together. And that's really what the meeting in August is about. Okay.
So I want to talk about this. One of the things you link in your letter I got as a member of TAAG is this editorial that Marco Rubio wrote in the Wall Street Journal on July 13th. I want to quote from it and then say something about it. The quote The ICC was born at the turn of the century. At first, it was marketed as a narrow backstop to prosecute the gravest crimes. Now, the ICC and its allies seek a standing world tribunal with near unlimited reach, empowered to override the courts and constitutions of the US and other sovereign states and to prosecute and arrest our citizens. Close quote. So, well, I thought of a lot of things when I read this, but I want to bring up two of them. One is that the gravest crimes, the genocide in Gaza is one of the gravest crimes in history, even though someone running for Senate in the state of Michigan, where I live, denies that it happened, which is just really bizarre. Haley Stevens. And so that is one of the gravest crimes. I don't understand why he's separating that. But the thing that really struck me is how threatened he seemed by the power of the ICC. And that to me is a hopeful sign. Am I on the right track there?
Absolutely, absolutely, you're on the right track. And that's why they're fighting so hard. I mean, he said in that same article, he's going to take it apart brick by brick, the ICC. And they're doing a massive campaign right now. It started, the government, there's a um, there's a press release by the government on that same day, citing his op-ed piece in the Wall Street Journal. What they're doing now is they're bullying other countries to withdraw from the ICC. And there's two countries that have followed suit, and you'll know why exactly, have done that. Venezuela. Look at how much we've done, how many war crimes we've committed in Venezuela. So Venezuela now has no mechanism to hold anybody responsible for that because they're not in the international court. So we can't, us as individuals, we can't file an ICC submission against what the U.S. has done in Venezuela. It's a puppet state now, totally a puppet state. Because they don't belong to the ICC. And
Oh,
Chad is
that's
the other
sad.
one. Chad is the other one. I don't know how many more will follow suit, but certainly Palestine won't follow suit. And the other thing, I don't know if you're aware of this or not. You probably are because and a lot of your listeners probably will be too. But they went after Khan, the head prosecutor of the ICC. And they went after him. They found out it leaked about 3 weeks before he actually, maybe a month before they actually issued arrest warrants for Netanyahu. And, it was two Israeli officials and I think three Hamas people, but the Hamas people have since died, so they don't count anymore. But about 3 weeks before they got wind that that was going to happen, and there were 12 senators that wrote this horrendous letter to Khan saying, don't you dare do that. Don't you dare issue arrest warrants for any Israeli officials, or we'll go after you. I have a copy of it. It's horrible. Just about 3 weeks. And then he filed. And within a month of him filing the arrest warrants, within a month, um, there was all of a sudden charges against him, alleged for um, uh, um, sexual discrimination, not discrimination, some kind of sexual thing that happened. It wasn't even the person that supposedly it happened to, but it was the person that person talked to that filed the charges. And
Strange timing.
yeah, same thing, same thing that happened to Hassan, same thing. It went on for a year. He stepped down. And it went on for a year. The investigation went through all the regular channels of investigation, and they found it unsubstantiated, the charges. But they weren't satisfied with that. So they took it right, and this just happened like a week ago. They took it before the whole ICC, 137, I think, countries, and I think 82 of them voted to have him step down. Even though the judges from the ICC, I mean, that the ICC appointed, independent judges found it unsubstantiated. So he's appealing that, but right now he's not there anymore. So what that means is when the next head prosecutor comes, do you think they're going to be receptive to going after what's going on in Palestine? I mean, they're doing everything, and they're doing everything because they know they're war criminals. And they could be put
Yes.
before the Hague, and they could be in jail for life. Look at what they're doing. I mean, he's
So,
announcing on a daily basis, he's announcing war crimes that he's doing in Iran. He's announcing them.
and bragging about it and bragging
Yes,
about
that's
it.
what I mean.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So,
Yeah.
can you tell us how I know you and the group Dawn,
Yes.
Democracy for, I have to go back and I have to,
Democracy, Arab world
Democracy
now.
for the Arab
Democracy
world
for the
now.
Arab world
Yes.
now. Yes.
Democracy for the Arab world now. So, you are together with Dawn filing a lawsuit.
We did file a lawsuit.
You
Yes.
did file a lawsuit. Can you talk about how that relates to what we've been talking about?
Okay, so in that executive order that he did in February of 2025, he did the executive order putting sanctions on foreign individuals, and I talked about that earlier. It also punishes Americans who offer a service to any of the sanctioned people or to the ICC, a service. Doesn't define what service is, but a service. And it's actually the penalty is can go to $1 million and 20 years in prison. And it's very vague. It's meant for sure to chill anybody from working with the ICC whatsoever. And so what we did, and Don did it also, Don has been working a lot with the ICC over the years, and they work with the three sanctioned Palestinian groups, and they work with Francesca Albanese. They do that. That's one of the things they do. I think they've done 4 or 5 submissions to the ICC. They did a submission on the Biden administration just a month before he issued the executive order, just a month before. So we have all this information that we've collected, all this evidence, really strong evidence. And if we submit it, we risk $1 million fine and 20 years in prison. So
And you're
we're
going to
filed.
submit it.
Yeah, if we submit it, that's what we risk. So the first thing we did, Don did it too. We wrote to the Office of Foreign Assets. You know, that's the one that if you want to go to Cuba or something, that's the part of the government you have to ask for a license to do it. You know, it's we Don asked for a license and or an assurance that submitting information to the ICC or working with these other groups are not going to cause the sanctions to the executive order to apply to us. And they did that, and we did that. They did it, I think, in April. We did it in February, and they never answered. We gave them 2 months to answer us, and they never answered us. So then that's why we're filing suit. And so we're filing suit against Trump. Let me tell you the exact people, so I don't I get so involved. Here it is. We're filing against Trump, Marco Rubio, Department of Treasury Scott Bessent, U.S. Department of Justice Todd Blanche. Here's the Office of Foreign Assets and Control. That's who you have to write for permission or get a license. And the head guy of that is Bradley T. Smith. We're filing against all of those. And so, and what we're saying is that the executive order as written, is totally against the First Amendment and the Fourth Amendment and the Fourth Amendment. And do you want to know more about the lawsuit, or I just can talk on and on? So you better tell me if I'm talking more about.
What do you hope will happen with the lawsuit?
Okay, what's happened? I think it's been four, the last time I checked. It's four different entities or people that have sued for a preliminary injunctions to have the executive order not apply to the work that they're doing. None of them were doing the work of submissions for the Palestine yet. I think it was Afghanistan and Myanmar and a few others like that. And they all have won. But just narrow, just for them, not for, and they didn't challenge the executive order per se. They challenged the executive order as it applied to them. We're doing the same thing. We're saying as it applies to us. And Don, as it applies to us, the executive order is unconstitutional and it breaks all kinds of other laws. And so what we're asking is a stay, to have it not apply to us. The courts say it doesn't apply to you. And we're having, I think, the briefing schedule it's fast because it's actually a preliminary injunction is what you're asking for. Stop it. And injunctions like that are often move pretty fast. So with the briefing schedule is mid-May and mid-August and towards the end of August, we think there'll probably be a hearing in mid-September and probably a ruling by the end of September. There's also in the same federal court, we're suing in New York City, in the same federal court, the ICC judges, I think 3 or 4 of them have filed against the executive order too, as it applies to them. So that's what we're hoping for. We're hoping for a ruling that says you can't stop people from talking to other people. It's like that's what they're trying to do is stop us from talking to somebody. That's really what it boils down to. And you can't.
Yes, so you're fighting for the right to fight.
Yes.
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 And so in the art, you also linked an article on The Guardian, and I wanted to ask you about this because it seemed important. I don't think I've quite grasped it. And I'll quote again. Akila Radhakrishnan, an international human rights lawyer, sued the administration last year for halting her work advising the ICC on sexual and gender-based violence claims. She said that the US attacks have disrupted the ecosystem for international justice, devastating victims' prospects for justice the world over. And I think this was in Maine. How does this relate to what TAAG and Dawn are doing with the current lawsuit?
I don't know. I don't know quite what your answer is. Again, she got a favorable ruling, but it only applied to her work.
So, it's an example of what you were
Yes.
just talking about before.
Yes,
Okay.
exactly. Yeah, that's what it is.
So this is quite a precedent now. You've had 4 rulings and you'll be the 5th. So if you are denied, it is clearly an issue of the Palestinian situation rather than the blanket ruling. Okay, that's very helpful.
Right, exactly. And as we said just earlier, they know they're guilty. That's why they're doing everything they possibly can. And who knows? We think we stand a really good chance of getting the injunction, but who knows what's going on behind the screen, behind the door? I mean, look at what Venezuela did. Look at what happened there. Anything. I mean, they're using every power that they have to stop from being held accountable. And again, it's our tax dollars. There's no way that Israel could be doing anything like what they're doing without the 110% support of the U.S. government with our money.
That's a very important thing to keep coming back to, that it is our money. And so talk a little bit about You mentioned what happens next as far as the injunction and the hearings and
Hmm.
stuff. As far as the campaign, what happens next, and what can the people listening and watching today do to help you?
Well, go on our website, U.S. Alliance, U.S. Taxpayer Alliance.net. Go there and go to Taxpayers Against Genocide.org. Go there and you'll see stuff that you can do. You can actually do you have the information on I don't know how to put I'm 79. I don't know how to do a lot of this stuff. To put the flyer in there so people can understand how to sign up for the mass meeting. Can you do that?
Yeah, that'll be in the show notes. I'll have the
Okay, good.
links to these
Uh,
articles, the show notes, the website links will all
Good,
be.
good. Yeah.
So if you're listening, you go to wherever you get your podcasts or to my website. And if you're watching, it's on the YouTube show notes.
Yeah. I just want to stop right now. I just want to thank you so much for the work that you're doing. Thank you. Thank you very
Oh,
much.
I feel like it's so little compared to what you do, but I think we all have to do what we can.
Whatever we can, we can't stop. We can't be bystanders to genocide and complicit in genocide with our tax dollars, really. If we're not doing something to stop it, we're complicit. And it doesn't
And
matter
that
what
goes
we
right
do.
back to the Nuremberg defense.
That's right. That's right. So it doesn't matter what you can do it. Talk to your neighbors, talk to somebody in the grocery store. I wear my keffiyeh often, I wear it often. And I talk to some people get upset. Most people don't. Most people want to talk about it. What can we do? And all over the world, there are organizations, groups of people that are trying to fight this. And you can join on to those people. You can write letters to the editor right now. You know what they're doing? Well, I'm sure most people know, but they're getting ready to merge the Israeli military with the U.S. military. Right now, as we're speaking, they're doing that. And I knew something like that was going to happen because Lindsey Graham, before he kicked the bucket, he mentioned he was going to Israel every 2 weeks, he said. Every 2 weeks he was going to Israel. And I heard him say, well, we've got to stop giving Israel so much money. And then Netanyahu, at another 3 or 4 days later, said, we're not going to be accepting money like this from the United States anymore. I said, boy, something's going on. And just a few weeks later, here it was. They're merging the two, so you can't see how much money we're giving to Israel and how much support we're giving to Israel. So you can't see it.
Oh, that's the motive. I see.
You can't see it. Yeah. Yeah. And what does that do in terms of that makes us accomplices in everything that Israel does?
That's a
Everything.
scary thought. It's even
Yeah.
scarier than what was already so frightening.
Yes, I know. And it's happening right now. And people that are, whatever state you're in, it's in the defense bill right now, and they're voting on it today and tomorrow. Call your senators and say no. It looks like it passed just barely. There was, I think, 6 Democrats that voted for it in the House, and it looks like it's a struggle, but we might be able to stop it.
And when you say today, today's the 28th of July, we're recording this.
Right,
And
right.
then you're having a big online meeting, and I'll
Mhm.
put this in the show notes on August 1st. So if
Right,
someone's thinking about helping, they can show up at that meeting and get more
right,
information and support.
right,
Okay.
exactly. And go to the websites. Go to the websites if they can. The meeting will probably be recorded, so we'll have the recording of it if you can't make it. Sign up. And if you can't make it, we'll send you, and you've signed up, we'll send you a recording of it.
And usually the podcast drops on the 1st, but I'm going to drop this 2 days early so that
There
people
you
can
go.
hear this and still come to the August 1st meeting. And I'll be there
You
for
see
a
how
while
you can
too.
help? I mean, look at what you're doing. Just doing that, breaking your pattern and changing a little bit to do anything you can to help stop the genocide. That's what all of us have to do. It seems little, but it's big. All of us doing a whole bunch of little things makes it big.
Yes, that's a good point. Is there anything you would like to add that I haven't asked you? Anything I've missed that you'd like to talk about before we say goodbye, Anna Marie?
Oh gosh. Oh gosh. I don't think so. I don't think so. I think we've covered the important things. Um, I just want everybody to know that we can't give up hope and we just have to keep trying. We
No,
see all kinds of ways.
I interviewed Seth Donnelly with my very first episode of my podcast. Now this is
Oh,
episode
really?
31 that you're on. So we'll check back in with you and see. It's amazing what you've done in a year, a little over a year. And I know
Yeah.
you're definitely gearing up for an even bigger fight here. So thank
Yeah.
you for your courage and your optimism and for all you're doing. And please give Seth my best.
I will. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Anna Marie.
Bye-bye.
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 I've been speaking with Anna Marie Stenberg from the organization Taxpayer Alliance Against Genocide. TAAG's website is taxpayersagainstgenocide.org. You can find the link in our show notes, as well as a link to the article in The Guardian and Marco Rubio's editorial in the Wall Street Journal. This podcast is produced on the sacred ancestral land of the Anishinaabe people. Thanks to the California band Castle House for writing and performing our music. The Whimsy Farm podcast airs the 1st and 15th of each month on our YouTube channel, Carolyn Crane and Whimsy Farm, and wherever you find your favorite podcasts. Thanks to our underwriters, Just Play Productions and Cannibalists, and to our paid Patreon members for their support of today's podcast. If you'd like to offer your support, please visit my website, whimsyfarm.net, and click the Patreon link to find a level of support that's right for you. There is also a free membership level. You can email me through the website, as well as access all links to past and current episodes. That's whimsyfarm.net. I'll be back on August 15th with Mariam Barry and another segment of Poetry Sustains. Mariam takes us on a deep dive into the world of poet Federico Garcia Lorca. Nearly 90 years ago, Lorca was executed by Spanish nationalists for his liberal views. Until then, remember the words of Utah Phillips, who said, "Too many good people are doing too many good things to afford me the luxury of being pessimistic." Get out there and create some positive change. Stay safe, everyone.
whimsyfarms.net